journey of research, sharing, and the fascinating realm of fisheries and marine sciences. To start with, may I request everyone to please rise for an invocation to be followed by the singing of the national anthems via audiovisual presentation.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, kelas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka masisigiw, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may di magtitindig. Luman ang araw ng walhagin pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng kartay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
You may now take your seats. Now, to give us an opening remark, may I give the floor to our very own Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Grace D. Bancilio. A round of applause, please.
Our very own Director of the Research, Innovation, Development, and Extension, Dr. Marlene B. Yame. The Director for International Affairs and Linkages, Dr. Ariel E. San Jose. The Campus Director, Dr. Pedro M. Adenido. The Active Dean of the Institute of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Professor Paul Pacquiao. Our Research Coordinator, Ms. Jonary Joy Tituba. Our SPAMAST faculty, students, and our partners from University of Borneo Tarakan. I want to mention each and every one. Sir Keki Tego, Professor Dr. Adir Paton, Professor Abdul Jabarsyah, Dr. Ir Muhammad Ruwem S.Kel, and Muhammad Djaya Bakri. To each and everyone, good morning. It is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to this special event in the field of Fisheries and Marine Studies. Today marks a significant milestone as we come together to celebrate and share the latest advancement and research findings in this crucial area of study. Our oceans and marine ecosystems play a vital role in sustaining life on Earth, and the research conducted in the realm of fisheries and marine studies is crucial for understanding, preserving, and responsibly managing these invaluable resources. I want to express my sincere appreciation to all the researchers, scholars, and industry professionals who have dedicated their time, expertise, and passion to contribute to the field. Your dedication to expanding our knowledge and finding innovative solutions is commendable and serves as an inspiration to us all. Today's presentations promise to be an exciting and enlightening experience. We have a diverse range of topics that delve into various aspects of fisheries, marine ecology, conservation, sustainable practices, and much more. It is through events like this that we foster collaboration, exchange ideas, and create opportunities for interdisciplinary partnerships. I also want to acknowledge the immense effort put forth by our organizing committee, faculty members, and students who have worked tirelessly to bring this event to fruition. Their dedication for ensuring the success of this research sharing presentation is truly commendable. Furthermore, I encourage each of you to actively participate in the discussions, ask insightful questions, and engage in meaningful dialogue throughout the day. Let us embrace this opportunity to learn from one another, challenge existing paradigms, and collectively work towards a better and more sustainable future for our oceans and marine ecosystems. In closing, I wish you all an engaging and rewarding experience during this research sharing presentation. May it ignite new ideas, spark collaborations, and further propel the advancement in fisheries and marine studies. Thank you for being here, and let us begin the journey of discovery together. Thank you, and once again, good morning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grace D. Bancilio. At this juncture, let us hear a message from the very supportive Vice Rector for Student Affairs and Cooperation of Universitas Borneo Tarakan, Vice Rector Muhammad Djaya Bakri. A round of applause, please.
I'm sorry, my microphone is off. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Mrs. Ruth S. Lucero, Ph.D., is the President of Southern Philippine Agri-business and Marine and Aquatic School of Technology, or SPAMAST. The Honorable Mrs. Grace Buencilo, Ph.D., is the Vice President of SPAMAST. The Honorable, my best friend, Mr. Ariel Sanjos, as the Director International Affairs and Linkage of SPAMAST. The Honorable all colleagues from SPAMAST. The Honorable Mr. Rukisa Ph.D. as the Dean of Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, UBT. The Honorable Professor Abdul Jabarsyah as a lecturer from Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, UBT. The Honorable Mr. Dimas Wiharyanto as the Vice Dean of Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, UBT. The Honorable all colleagues from UBT and my proud of to all the participants who were present today. Peace of all, let us give our praise and thank to the Almighty God, just because of His grace and guidance, so that we can gather at today in a good heart. Even though this even take place in a hybrid manner. I hope it will not rid us of enthusiasm to follow this event until the end. I, as the Vice Rector for Student Affairs Planning and Collaboration, represent the Rector of UBT and apologize because I cannot deliver his remark today due to he is carrying out his duties and responsibilities outside Tarakan. Furthermore, my deeply gratitude goes to SPAMAST for facilitating our Great Today event. For information to all of us, this event has followed up to the collaboration between UBT and SPAMAST Philippines. Finally, our collaboration can be realized of this event today. We do hope it is the good start to the continuous our collaboration. The peace meeting was held in January, and it was decided that the follow-up of our collaboration this year would be in the form of sharing research results and even holding on international seminar, which will be continued in the next few months. For the presentation of today's research result, we agreed that the students from UBT and SPAMAST were present, of course, whereas UBT academic community will welcome this collaboration activity. We hope that in the future, this collaboration will continue in the form of other activities. Finally, I hope this event can run smoothly. So let's follow in, until the end. I think that's enough of my speech. Thank you. Good morning. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Vice Rector Muhammad Bakri. Now, throughout this event, we will have the privilege of hearing from our keynote speakers, experts, and student researchers who will be sharing their groundbreaking findings, innovative methodologies, and valuable insight. And their research has spanned a diverse range of topics, including fisheries management, marine conservation, and aquaculture practices. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker for today's research sharing presentation. This remarkable individual has dedicated his career to making significant contributions to the field through extensive research and expertise. With a strong academic background, our first keynote speaker completed his bachelor's degree in marine biology at the Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, University of Lambong Mangkurat. Building upon this foundation, he went on to pursue his master's and doctoral degrees in fisheries science at Nagasaki University, showcasing his commitment to advancing his knowledge and expertise in the field. In addition to his academic achievements, he possesses extensive research experience. Having served as the head of various funded projects, this role highlights his leadership abilities and his aptitude for conducting meaningful research in fisheries and marine sciences. Furthermore, he has published his works in esteemed international journals. Moreover, his written works, including books focusing on fisheries and marine sciences, and the expertise with a wider audience. Overall, this impressive academic journey, extensive research experience, and notable publications underscore his passion, dedication, and expertise in the field of fisheries and marine sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, to present to us the topic, Fauna in Kayan Watershed, Bulungan Regency, North Kalimantan. Put your hands together for Professor Dr. Abdul Jabarsyah.
Today I want to introduce my research area for past 5 years. Today I want to presentation of the biodiversity current status of the ichthyofauna in a peatland area in the North Kalimantan. And my research team, Ricky Simanjunta, KP Romo, Ricky, and Miss Dori, Mrs. Dori. Next. Yeah, this research is sponsored by GIZ for 5 years research, and the first activity of my research is the biodiversity of fisheries and ichthyofauna in peat area, and the second one in the mangrove area, and the third one in the Kayan rivers. Today I want to talk about the status of fisheries in peat area in the North Kalimantan. As you know, in the peat area in Kalimantan, we have 14 peat area in North Kalimantan. 13 area is we found in the Kabupaten Tanah Tidung, and 1 area in the Nunukan, Kabupaten Nunukan. As you know, bahwa it's a peat area is extremely area in the North Kalimantan. The next, this is a peat area in the North Kalimantan. As you know, peat area is that daerah yang sangat labil, we call in the bahasa Indonesia. The water is dark. The next. Next. This is the area of Delta Kayan Sembakung, where is the peat land in the North Kalimantan. Next. As you know, we found the freshwater species in the Kalimantan, about less than 400 species, and 150 is the species we found in the swim pet area in the North Kalimantan. Next. Yeah, we try to explore the species diversity ecologist aspect in the peat area in the North Kalimantan. The next. We focus in our research in the two area in the North Kalimantan, this Tanah Tidung and Nunukan. Kalau kita lihat ya, apa namanya, hampir seluruh wilayah di Kalimantan Utara itu, di North Kalimantan itu adalah masuk di lahan basah itu, wetland ya, wetland in the North Kalimantan. Jadi in the North Kalimantan, di area di dekat close to the marine area. Next. During sampling period, we found 10 family and 17 species. And the Prinidae is the large number of a family in Tidung. As you know, next. This is the number of species we found in the two area of the peatland in the North Kalimantan. And species we found dominated by Osteleohelus hasselti in the North, in the Tanah Tidung. Next. This is species dominate in the North Kalimantan, and the one is a beta species. Beta species is the fighting fish we found in the North Kalimantan. The beta species is one of the what you call that, sudah masuk ke dalam red UICN, red list in UCN. The next, the one of species also we found in this area, this Nematobramis Alestis borneensis. This is specific species in the Tanah Tidung, and one of Clarias species, we found this sudah masuk ke dalam red list UICN also. And next, this is one of the marine species we found in about 270 kilometers from the estuaria in the upstream of Kayan River. This is lattes, sea bass, we call it sea bass, but this we found in the freshwater area. Next. This is other species in Tanah Tidung we found, and also there are some of marine species we found in the freshwater area in Tanah Tidung. Next. This is a species we found in the Sembakung, Kabupaten Nunukan, the other part of North Kalimantan. There is one of pit area in the North Kalimantan. We found 12 species, 12 family and 13 species in the Sembakung area, the Atap village. And species we found there come from the next. Bisa dilihat berikutnya. Berikut ada gambar apa namanya? This is a species we found in the Sembakung, ya, atap village. One of yang paling bawah itu apa namanya? Ya, jadi this is a species we found in the Sembakung in atap area. The next, ada yang kenal. Thank you. Barangkali itu yang bisa saya sampaikan. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Dr. Abdul Jabarsyah, for a comprehensive presentation. Now, allow me to award this certificate of recognition. Certificate of recognition is given to Professor Dr. Abdul Jabarsyah for his outstanding service as keynote speaker during the research sharing presentation in Fisheries and Marine Studies via Zoom on May 24, 2023. Given this 24th day of May 2023, signed by Dr. Ariel E. San Jose, Director, International Affairs and Linkages of SPAMAST, signed by Professor Dr. Adri Paton, Rector of UBT, signed by Dr. Grace D. Bancilio, Vice President of Academic Affairs, SPAMAST. Again, let's give a warm of applause to Professor Dr. Abdul Jabarsyah. At this point in time, I will be introducing our next keynote speaker. Our second keynote speaker finished his Ph.D. in Development, Research, and Administration at the University of Southeastern Philippines. He is a licensed fishery technologist and a professional teacher. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Biology at the University of Southern Mindanao, finished his Master of Science in Biology at the Ateneo de Davao University, and currently he is an Associate Professor of SPAMAST, handling subjects in aquaculture, capture fisheries, fisheries resource management, and hatchery management. He is an accomplished faculty with wide government and private agency experience. His various accomplishments in his field of expertise is superb and worthy of emulation. Colleagues in the academy, students, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand to Professor Dr. Dario R. Morastil. Sir?
Good morning, everyone. I am Dario Morastil, faculty of the IFMS, the Institute of Fisheries and Marine Sciences. I'm going to present to you my previous research, the effects of cage aquaculture to the physico-chemical status of seawater in the mariculture park of Balan Cove. It's the appearance of a cove. For the background of my study, marine fish pens and fish cages are flourishing in the coves of Davao Occidental, particularly in Malalag and Tubalan Bays. The trend is increasing, perhaps due to the profitability of this aquaculture, but uncertain as to when this may continue to flourish or may stop due to pollution in marine water. Unlike in the aquaculture of Laguna de Bay, no fish scale yet occurring in the bays of Davao del Sur and Occidental, since it is an open water. Unlike Taal Lake, which is an isolated body of water with limited carrying capacity, thus more prone to fish kills. Though coves are interconnected to open oceans, it has to be well regulated through scientific research so that significant findings can be a good tool for policymakers in the barangay or municipal level. For the objectives of the study, to determine the amount of dissolved oxygen, biological oxygen demand, phosphates, nitrates, pH, salinity, temperature, and transparency in the study site, and compare them to normal standard in the international level. Next is to determine volume of fish catch and shell gleaning activity as affected by commercial feed inputs in the mariculture park. Then to determine awareness level of coastal folks in the preservation effort of Tubalan Cove. For the methods, research locale, the study was conducted in Tubalan Cove near SPAMAST that comprised coastal barangays of Tubalan and Buhangin. For the formulation questionnaire and determination focus group discussion, this comprised the demographic profile, respondents, fishing activities, cleaning activities, and awareness level in the preservation of the mariculture park. For the collection of water samples, the water samples were collected from top layer of seawater about 6 inches depth, as usual practice in pond aquaculture water sampling. Water sample preservation for laboratory analysis. This was analyzed at the University of Immaculate Conception Science Resource Center, Davao City, was done by placing the composite sample inside a plastic cooler and 10 pieces of ice water inside. It was tightly sealed prior to the transport. 3 to 4 hours travel time were maintained to ensure stability of the water samples. Highly unstable parameters such as pH, temperature, transparency, salinity, and dissolved oxygen were measured on site. 3 sampling stations were determined, namely the Udalo, Tubalan, and Alibungog. At Udalo, where most of the fish cages were installed, was the focus of water analysis for pH, salinity, DO, BOD, COD, phosphates, nitrates, ammonium chloride, nitrogen, nitrite, and hydrogen sulfide for 4 quarters to have a good data collection. Highly unstable parameters such as pH, temperature, transparency, salinity, and dissolved oxygen were also measured on-site and simultaneous with the 3 sampling stations for 3 consecutive weeks. Launching of the survey questionnaire, coastal folks that resides along the shorelines of the 3 sampling stations were personally interviewed by numerators. We're using our fishery students as our enumerators, as active fish catchers and shell cleaners. Personal interview were done simultaneously among the 3 sampling stations. For the results and discussion, so we have this turbidity raw data in a weekly interval. So in Udalo, we have 9 feet, Tubalan, 11 feet, and Alibungog, 14 feet. Week 2, so in a weekly basis. Next, turbidity analysis in weekly interval. So there is that average 11.67, 11.33, and 12.67. And the statistics showed that the turbidity is comparable. So no significant result among weekly interval. When turbidity was compared according to sampling stations, there was a significant result wherein it is in Alibungog, it has the highest pit in terms of more clear in the seawater of the Alibungog compared to the other sampling sites. For the temperature in degrees Celsius in a weekly basis, the average for the 3 sampling stations, we have 28 degrees Celsius, 27.67, 27.67, and the statistics showed that the result for temperature is comparable. So there is no significant difference in a weekly basis for the temperature. Then when temperature was analyzed according to sampling sites, so the average is 28, 28.33, 27.33. So statistical result showed also there is no significant difference according to temperature based on sampling sites. For the salinity in parts per thousand, so we have the weekly measurement week 1, week 2, week 3. Salinity analysis was done in a weekly interval. So we have this mean 36.37, 39.33, and 36.67. Statistics showed salinity is comparable in a weekly basis. Then when salinity was based according to different stations, still the same, there was no significant difference on salinity among the three sampling stations. For the pH, so Odalo, Tubalan, and Alibungog, so there is that weekly interval monitoring of the pH. Then pH analysis in a weekly interval, 8.07. Statistics showed that still there is that similarity comparable according to pH analysis in an weekly interval. When pH was based compared according to sampling stations, still the same, similar result, no significant difference among the three sampling stations. For the dissolved oxygen, so we have here week 1, week 2, and week 3. Then DO analysis in a weekly interval. So the average 7.13, 5.9, and 7.57. So statistics showed comparable was the dissolved oxygen concentration. Then when DO analysis compared according to sampling stations, also statistics show no significant difference. It means they are comparable. Now, here is the highlight of my study in which I am very much concerned because I want to know which among the 10 parameters already beyond the tolerable limits of the aquatic organism, marine organism. So based on the findings of the UIC Science Resource Center, I put here okay, so for the pH, the mean is 7.7225. A mean derived from the 4 quarters or every 3 months in a year. Then for the dissolved oxygen in milligrams per liter, 7.4. Then biological oxygen demand in milligrams per liter is 0.99. COD is 423. Phosphate 0.22. Nitrate 0.39. Ammonium chloride nitrogen 1.58. Nitrite 0.003. Salinity 40.7. Hydrogen sulfide 0.2. Okay, as you can notice, there is that marked asterisk of the 10 parameters beyond the international journal, and this can be considered for me in my term as the danger zone, because in the study sites there are already complaints by fish cage operators that they can observe daily mortalities, 1 piece, 2 pieces in a day, especially it is already 1 month before the harvest. So for the mean of the area, 423, is already higher compared to the international standard, which is optimum is less than 70 ppm. Second is 0.22 phosphate. So the optimum is 0.05 to 0.07. Then 1 ppm is good for plankton production. So it's already beyond the phosphate. Then the ammonium chloride nitrogen, 0.3775, 3975. So the optimum is 5 ppm. How is this? Optimum is less than 1 ppm. So which means there are already indicators that something has to be done. This of those different parameters. So COD, or chemical oxygen demand, is the standard method for indirect measurement of the amount of pollution that cannot be oxidized biologically. So in a sample of water, so this is according to Aquaforce NL 1992. BOD is the measurement of total dissolved oxygen consumed by microorganisms for biodegradation of organic matter such as food particles or sewage, etc. The excess entry of cattle and domestic sewage from the non-point sources and similarly increase in phosphate in the village ponds or in the surrounding shorelines may be attributed to the high organic load in these ponds, thus causing higher level of BOD. Clerk 1986 reported that BOD range of 2 to 4 milligrams per liter does not show pollution, while levels beyond 5 milligrams per liter are indicative of serious pollution. According to Batnagar, 3 to 6 parts per million is optimum for nominal activities of fishes. 6 to 12 ppm is sublethal for fishes, and more than 12 ppm can usually cause fish kill due to suffocation. Santos and Singh 2007 recommended optimum BOD level for aquaculture should be less than 10 milligram per liter. But the water with BOD less than 10 to 15 milligram per liter can be considered for fish culture. Batnagar and Singh 2010 suggested that BOD less than 1.6 milligram per liter is suitable for pond fish culture. And according to Ikubo and Aboui 2011, aquatic system with BOD levels between 1 and 2 milligram per liter considered clean, 3 milligram per liter fairly clean, 5 milligrams per liter doubtful, and 10 milligrams per liter definitely bad and polluted. So these are the reasons why there are some observable fish kill, not yet a massive scale. So according to Stone and Tom Ford, 2004, nitrate is relatively toxic to fish and not cause any health hazard except at exceedingly high levels, or this is above this favorable range of 0.1 milligram per liter to 4 milligram per liter in fish culture water. However, OATA 2008 recommends that nitrate levels in marine systems never exceed phosphorus present in water is in the form of phosphate, and in surface water mainly present as bound to living and dead particulate matter, and in the soil is found as insoluble calcium phosphate and absorb phosphates on coolage except under highly acid conditions. So it is an essential plant nutrient as it is often in limited supply and stimulates plant or algal growth larval stage. Ammonia is a byproduct of protein of organic matter such as wasted food, feces, dead plankton, sewage, etc. Banerjee is 1967 stated that an ionized form of ammonia is extremely toxic, while the ionized form is not. Both the forms are grouped together as total leaders the explanation for the cage owners. So to cause gill damage, destroys mucus producing membranes, sublethal effects like reduced growth, poor feed conversion, reduced disease resistance at concentration, story imbalance, kidney failure. So fish suffering from ammonia poisoning generally appear sluggish or often at the surface, gasping for air. That is according to Batagar, Janak, Garg, Patra, Singh, and Barman, 2004. So this is the side bit of my research for the demographic profile. So according to age, so 20 to 58 years old was the range, and the average is 33 years old. Then for the marital status, 85% of course merit. Then educational attainment, so majority is only high school level among the respondents. Then for the fishing activity response, so the frequently caught fish, these are the common in the area, the matambaka or the big eye fish, the barilis or the tuna species, and then the nucus. It was found out that nucus was the common fish caught. They spent 4.35 hours in a day fishing. Then they spent for a week. The average is 3.84 days in a week in fishing. Then type of fishing gear, the common one is the gill nets. Then I'm interested of the before establishment of the fish cage and after establishment of the fish cage, whether their fishing catch is either increased or decreased. So the respondents responded that 2.4, or meaning they have still that more catch. So because there are 3 selections, less, 1 means less, 2 means more catch, 3 means the same catch. So they mentioned that, more catch. Then after the establishment of fish cage, slightly lower, but still they considered as the catch after the establishment of fish cage. Then for the gleaning activity, so there were 3 selections common in the area. 1 it means sina, 2 is silitog, 3 is tuway. Then tuway was the majority kind of the shells being gleaned. Hours spent in gleaning. So in a day, so the gleaner spent 2.67 hours in a day. Then days spent in a week. So the gleaner spent 2.11 days in a week. Then type of gleaning gears, so there are 3 selections, guna, tagad, and then the bare hand. Tagad was the majority gleaning tools. Then again, I would like to know the catch of gleaning before and after the establishment of fish cage. So 2.4 means they have still the catch, they have still more catch, but it slightly lowers after the establishment of fish cage, but still on the level of the more catch, 0.61, but under the category of more catch. For the respondents' awareness, so this is important for the people residing in the coastal. For the dynamite fishing, so the coastal folks are moderately aware. For the poison fishing, also they are moderately aware. Then for the fish net fishing, which is below the recommended by BFAR, moderately aware. Then for the water quality monitoring, they are aware only. So for the conclusion, turbidity is significantly high or more clear in Alibungog than in Tubalan and Odalo. Then temperature, salinity, pH, and DO varies insignificantly among the 3 sampling stations. Water parameters that are beyond the international standards are COD, phosphates, and ammonium chlorine nitrogen, while parameters within the standards levels are the pH, DO, nitrite, salinity, and hydrogen sulfide. So we have this. Side bit ito. I would go to the recommendation. So for the recommendation, close monitoring of water quality, particularly those parameters that are already beyond international standards, be budgeted in close coordination with Malita LGU, BFAR, SPAMAST Research Center, to have an advanced prevention of possible occurrence of fish kill on Tubalan Mariculture Farm. Formulation of policies for responsible governance for sustainable cage aquaculture production, particularly on planning stage, that includes zoning, carrying capacity, and siting. Monitoring on the management aspects that includes licensing of the fish cage operators, environment monitoring, production regulation, and ensuring sustainability as to social and economic impacts of cage aquaculture be implemented in Tubalan Mariculture Farm. So that ends my presentation. These are my few survey documentations. These are our Bachelor of Science in Fisheries students as enumerators. This is the actual Yeah, still on the, this is the actual on-site pH reading, DO reading on-site, actual, and temperature reading. And here's the researcher on the on-site. Thank you, and I am pleased to hear the comments or questions from the panelists.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Dario Morastil. Please accept this certificate of recognition. Certificate of recognition is hereby given to Dr. Dario Morastil for his outstanding service as keynote speaker during the research sharing presentation in Fisheries and Marine Sciences on May 24, 2023, given this 24th day of May 2023. Signed by Dr. Ariel E. San Jose, Director of the International Affairs, Linkages, and SPAMAST of SPAMAST. Signed by Professor Dr. Adri Paton, Rector of UBT, and signed by Grace D. Bancilio, Vice President of Academic Affairs, SPAMAST. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached another phase of our research sharing presentation. It is the moment we've been all waiting for, as we invite the brilliant students from SPAMAST and UBT to share their remarkable research outputs with us. After each presentation, we will have the privilege of hearing from a reactor who will provide invaluable insights and suggestions and reactions to the research shared by our students. The reactors will offer their perspectives to further enrich our understanding to the topics at hand. Now, allow me to introduce to you our reactors for today's event. For SPAMAST presenters, the reactor is coming from Universitas Borneo Tarakan. He is a faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, a lecturer in Aquatic Resources Study. He is interested in environmental oceanographic studies and ecological modeling, especially the seagrass ecosystem. He is also a member of the environmental technical team for the province of North Kalimantan. He is an expert and leads several research studies related to fisheries and marine science. Ladies and gentlemen, our first reactor is none other than Dr. Ir Muhammad Ruem, a faculty of Universitas Borneo Tarakan. A hand, please. Sir, you may open your camera for you to be recognized. Now, let me introduce our second reactor. Our second reactor is from the Southern Philippines Agri-business and Marine and Aquatic School of Technology and has a long experience in fisheries and mangrove resource assessment. He is also a well-published author, having his research papers published in various ISI and international journals. And currently, he is our campus director of SPAMAST and the dean of the Institute of Professional and Graduate Studies. He will give his invaluable insights to the presentations from Universitas Borneo Tarakan, which will happen this afternoon. He will give his invaluable insights to the presentations from UBT. Colleagues in the academy, students, a round of applause for Professor Dr. Pedro M. Avenido. Wave, sir. Wave lang, sir. Nadara ang camera. Thank you, sir. Now, without further ado, let us commence this exciting session as we eagerly anticipate the research presentations from our students. Ready na? At mga students. To start with, may I call in Ms. Christy Ann Cabigas to present to us the research entitled Growth, Performance, and Survival Rate of Siamese Fighting Fish Fed with Daphnia and Azolla at Different Ratios. A round of applause, please.
Okay, it is a great honor and privilege to present and discuss our research entitled Growth, Performance, and Survival of Siamese Fighting Fish Fed with Daphnia and Azolla at Different Ratio. Honestly, the demand for ornamental fishes has progressively expanding year after year, and continuous development in the aquarium fish trade is very evident. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, betta fish culture is currently an option for improving family income. Nevertheless, selecting feed is an essential since the slow growth factor is regarded to be controlled by feeding, and color production in fish is due mostly to food. So the growth of betta fish culture in the community and at the hatchery is still insufficient. Hence, the study is conducted to first determine which among the treatments exhibit best growth performance after 90 days of culture in terms of weight and length. Second is to determine the survival rate of Siamese fighting fish fed with Daphnia and Azolla after 90 days of culture. Third is to determine the effects of varying levels of Daphnia and Azolla on the color vibrancy of Siamese fighting fish. And lastly, to compare the number of fry produced by Siamese fighting fish fed with Daphnia and Azolla. So the results of the study would provide information that significantly help producers, especially fish hobbyist with cost-effective ornamental production, and also to evaluate the use of Daphnia and Azolla as feed sources for Siamese fighting fish, and to provide also insights to the optimal ratio for enhancing growth performance of Siamese fighting fish, and lastly, to contribute to the development of effective and sustainable feeding practices for betta fish culture. So here is our experimental setup. We used 5 small glasses containers, 3 by 6 by 3 inches, as our culture tanks, and it was actually filled with 450 ml of water with 5 treatments and 3 replicates per treatment that were arranged in a completely randomized design. So as seen in the figure, fish were actually randomly distributed, one fish to each bottle. Paper was placed between the culture tanks to prevent the fish from seeing each other. So the following treatments or feeds were used in the study. We used 100% Daphnia, 75% Daphnia plus 25% Azolla, 50% Daphnia and 50% Azolla, 25% Daphnia and 75% Azolla, 100% Azolla. So for our experimental species, we actually used blue male Siamese fighting fish, juveniles. It is a 60-day-old. All are half-moon muscat, and were obtained actually from the local market here in Malita, Davao Occidental, and were acclimatized to the rearing environment for a week before feeding the experimental feeds. So the fish were actually fed 5% of the body weight ad libitum twice daily at 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. So here for the collection of our Daphnia. The Daphnia was actually obtained from a local betta fish hobbyist in Malita, Davao Occidental, and we actually cultured it in a container with a volume of 1 gallon. And the container was first filled with pond water and was allowed to sit undisturbed and covered for several days before adding the Daphnia. So for the collection of Azolla, so the Azolla was actually collected also from a hobbyist, pond of a hobbyist in Malita, Davao Occidental, was sun-dried for 2 to 3 days until crispy dried and powdered form, then was stored in a plastic bin. So for sampling of fish sampling was done by catching all fish in individual tanks at 2 weeks interval, and it was performed in the morning at around 7 a.m. before delivering feed to observe growth and health conditions. So for data gathering procedures, for evaluating the growth, the length gain, weight gain, and percent of survival were taken into consideration and were measured. So the length and weight of fish were measured using a ruler in centimeter and electronic weighing scale in grams. For color vibrancy, there are actually 5 hobbyists volunteered, rated the photos on the first and last day of culture, and after that, breeding process was done to count the number of fry. So for all data gathered were actually analyzed statistically using one-way analysis of variance. Here is the results of our study. First, we will discuss first the weight. So results showed that those fed with 75% Daphnia and 25% Azolla obtained significantly higher mean weight compared to the rest of the treatment. So this was followed by 100% Azolla, 50% Daphnia plus 50% Azolla, and 25% Daphnia plus 75% Azolla. Whereas 100% Azolla got the lowest mean weight. For the length, the results showed that feeding Siamese fighting fish with 75% Daphnia plus 25% Azolla had the highest mean length. And following this were 25% Daphnia plus 75% Azolla, 50% Daphnia plus 50% Azolla, and 100% Daphnia. And while feeding 100% Azolla obtained the lowest mean length. So for the physical-chemical parameters, water quality measurements taken throughout the study revealed that all parameters, notably temperature, the DO, the ammonia, and pH, were within the acceptable ranges for the culture of Siamese fighting fish. So here is the result for the color vibrancy. As to the mean scores, all of the treatments fed to Siamese fighting fish appeared to have improved the fish color vibrancy, and comparable effect on the color vibrancy was observed. So for the number of fry produced, comparable effects of Daphnia and Azolla ratio were observed on the number of fry produced. So actually both 50% Daphnia and 50% Azolla as well as 100% Azolla had an average of 41 fry produced, while 75% Daphnia plus 25% Azolla had 40, 25% Daphnia plus 75% Azolla had 31 fry produced, and 100% Daphnia had 27 fry produced. So for conclusion, significantly higher weight of those fed with 75% Daphnia plus 25% Azolla. And for the survival rate, it was observed 100% in all treatments. So next is the different ratio of Daphnia and Azolla had a comparable effect on the reproduction of Siamese fighting fish. The color vibrancy of Siamese fighting fish fed with Daphnia and Azolla had increased after 90 days of culture, and the prevailing physical-chemical parameters in the study were within the tolerable limits for the entire study period. So for the recommendation, so the use of 75% Daphnia and 25% Azolla is recommended to be good for Siamese fighting fish. Further investigation for Daphnia and Azolla as feed for other ornamental fish species, and conducts a similar study using Daphnia and Azolla as an inclusion to feed pellets ingredients for commercialization. So here are our references. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Christy Ann Cabigas. And now let us hear invaluable insights from our reactor, Dr. Ruem. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Dr. Ruem. I think you are muted.
Gak ada suaranya. Pantas dia diam-diam aja.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Ruem.
It's my voice. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Ruem.
Okay.
Here and yes, po.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and magandang hapon.
Magandang hapon.
First, I would like to say this research is very interesting. I got some new information, especially in Talisay tree, the Terminalia catapa. In East Borneo or East Kalimantan, Berau region. See, we have coastal area named the Talisayan. It's named before because the coastal area is dominated by the Talisay. So look how much we share the same phrase, the same culture, the same word in the Sulawesi Sea area. That's the first. It's very interesting to me. So I focus to my focus reaction in the color, the color vibrant of the experiment. Here we also have two students supervised by Dr. Aziz do the same thing with you with this the same research with the same beta species also. But maybe I would like to suggest, recommend that if you in the UBT, the student determine the color vibrant with the digital value of the color with Photoshop. So they determine 3 spots in the lower dorsal and the tail and some area in the beta species, and the student compare the color vibrance at digital value by compare the digital value with Photoshop. So they determine the value of RGB, red, green, and blue. So, but it's the digital value. And in terms of ornamental fishes, the value from the fish enthusiast is more valuable, maybe because they have the criteria such composition, the vibrant, and etc. But I think it's a very, very, very interesting research. It should be go to the international publication. The last thing, maybe, as the Prof. Jabarsyah said before, we have Prof just collect the sample of endemic beta species. We know Kalimantan, Sumatra, and Java, in geological phase, we are the one mainland, the Sunda land. And then the Philippines islands with the maybe some Sulawesi Peninsula, it's come from the another geological process. But we have the same genus beta. Maybe I think we should do some research collaboration like phylogenetic study, phylogenetic mapping of the beta species, collaboration between Prof. Jabarsyah here. Also, we have lecture Miss Samsidar Ghaffar, also working with DNA barcoding. Maybe we can ping the DNA barcoding, the phylogenetic, how much cost our fish beta species in Kalimantan and in the Philippines. Maybe that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you and congratulations, Ms. Cabigas. Thank you also, Dr. Rumem. Now let us move on to our second presenter, still from SPAMAST. A hand please to Ms. Daisy Hios for her presentation, Seaweed Enriched with Milkfish Sausage. A round of applause, please. Okay, since our student is still preparing her presentation, I would like to acknowledge the presence of everyone here in SPAMAST boardroom. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Director for Research, Innovation, Development, and Extension, Dr. Marlene B. Liameg. Hello, ma'am. Thank you for coming. We also have here the Dean of the Institute of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Professor John Paul Pacquiao. And also the Director for International Affairs and Linkages, Dr. Ariel E. San Jose. And we have our students here from Fisheries, from the Institute of Fisheries and Marine Sciences. And yeah, I also would like to acknowledge the presence of the faculty and staff from the Fisheries and Marine Sciences of Universitas Borneo Tarakan. We see students, and also thank you everyone for participating. I know that we can gain a lot of knowledge this morning, and this afternoon there will be more presentations.
So, good day each and everyone. Allow me to introduce myself first. I am Daisy Hios, a Center of Research Study entitled Seaweed Enriched Milkfish Sausage. So, for the information of everyone, according to PSA for the Fisheries Situation Report from January to March 2023, milkfish ranked as third and seaweed ranked first as the top 10 major species in terms of volume of production in this year, 2023. So, introduction. Increasing customer demand for high-quality meat products lead to the creation of meat products that include health-promoting additives. The long-held positive consumer image of meat and meat products are the richest suppliers of minerals, vitamins, and complete proteins. Complete proteins include all the amino acids that our bodies require to operate correctly. Since all sausage manufacturing formulae are meat-based, and all additives used in sausage manufacture must be based on weight rather than percentage. So, for the first objectives, to determine the sensory qualities, the aroma, color, taste, and texture, and general acceptability of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. Second, to determine the microbial content of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. And lastly, to determine the nutritional value or the proximate analysis of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. For the significance of the study, this study was of great significance to the students, milkfish, and seaweed producers, entrepreneurs, future researchers, and the community. Value addition and proper utilization of fish can make a major contribution to minimizing loss of valuable protein. This study will provide more information to those entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who are to introduce delicious, high in protein, and seafood products like sausage. It would introduce a new dish to everyone that are cholesterol-free and safe for the health. To every milkfish and seaweed farmer, they can produce more and cope up with the demand of every product developer. Moreover, the result of this study will provide information to everyone who is interested in the production of this product as future business. So the conceptual framework of the study, we have here the independent variable. For the independent variable, which include the different treatments of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage, we have the control. Treatment 1 is the control, 60% fish meat plus 40% fats, which is incorporated with 317 grams fats and 83 grams other ingredients. For the treatment 2, 60% fish meat plus 40%, which incorporated with 309 grams of fats, 2% or 8 grams of seaweed gel, plus 83 grams other ingredients. For treatment 3, 60% fish meat plus 40% incorporated with 301 grams of fats plus 4% equivalent to 16 grams of seaweed gel plus 83 other ingredients. For treatment 4, 60% fish meat plus 40% incorporated with 293 grams of fats plus 6% equivalent to 24 grams seaweed gel plus 83 grams other ingredients. For the last treatment, 60% fish meat plus 40% incorporated with 285 grams fats plus 8% or 32 grams seaweed gel plus 83 grams other ingredients. For the dependent variable, we have the sensory qualities. Under sensory qualities, we have the aroma, color, taste, texture, and general acceptability. We have here the microbial analysis and the nutritional value. So we have the hypothesis. The first hypothesis, which is there is no significant difference in terms of color, aroma, taste, texture, and general acceptability of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. For hypothesis 2, there is no significant difference in the microbial analysis of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. And lastly, there is no significant difference in the nutritional value or the approximate analysis of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. Next, for the methodology or the research local. The product seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage was conducted at SPAMAST Shared Service Facility Center, Malita, Davao Occidental, and sensory evaluation was conducted at Post-Harvest Processing Sensory Evaluation Room. Next, the research design and instrument. The study used 5 treatments, and each treatment was replicated 3 times. The experiment was laid out in a completely randomized design to evaluate the effect of each treatment. 60% fish was stay-detol treatments, while 40% is variable dependent on the combination of fats, seaweeds, and other ingredients. So, for the process flow chart of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage, for the procurement of raw materials, seaweed or the Eucheoma species, milkfish, and other products were procured from the public market of Malita, Davao Occidental. The procured materials were placed in a clean container with cover to avoid exposure to dust and ashes. The actual preparation and production of the product was conducted at SPAMAST shared service facility. For the preparation of milkfish, milkfish were washed thoroughly in running water to remove adhering dirt and other particles from the fish. The bones and visceral organs of the fish were separated. After segregation, the fish meat was thoroughly and sliced manually and grounded using a blender. For the preparation of seaweeds, we have here first the drying of seaweeds. The fresh seaweeds are washed and soaked first with rice washing water for 12 hours or overnight. The following day, seaweeds were dried for 7 hours or more using a solar drying depending on the presence of sunlight. So for the seaweed powder, dried seaweeds were placed into coffee or spliced by grinder and are ground finely using a blender. Finally, the seaweed was transferred to an airtight container and stored in a cold, dry place. For the blending and cooking or gelling of seaweeds, 80 grams powder seaweeds were blended with 400 ml water. Thereafter, seaweeds were boiled with water. While heating, the mixture was stirred occasionally in one direction until it would become sticky. Seaweed gel was poured in a plastic basin and set aside for further use. For the preparation of pork fats were weighted for desired ratio of each treatment and washed thoroughly in running water to remove dirt and other particles. For the production of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage, ingredients were utilized in production of seaweed-enriched sausage for every treatment, namely 60% or 600 grams fish meat, pork fat according to treatment, seaweed gel according to treatment, 20 grams salt, 30 grams sugar, 10 grams garlic, 20 grams vinegar, 6 grams black pepper, and 4 grams MSG. The skinless and boneless milkfish were grounded. Pork fat was grinded separately. The ground fish and pork fat were mixed well with all other ingredients and were packed into casings. The finished product was labeled according to its treatment, then stored in the refrigerator. For this sensory evaluation, the different samples of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage were evaluated by 30 untrained respondents. The respondents were randomly selected from among the faculty, staff, and students of SPAMAST regardless of gender and age. So for the microbial analysis, 1 gram sample was homogenized with 9 ml of sterile saline solution with 0.85 sodium chloride. Serial dilutions were carried out with the same diluents. The dilute suspension was poured on the standard plate count agar. All the inoculated plates were incubated for 20. The colony forming units were counted using a colony counter. Frequency of microbial count was assessed. So for the statistical tool and analysis, all data from the experiment was subjected to analysis of variance or ANOVA to evaluate the treatment effects to determine significant difference among treatment focused tests were utilized. So for the results and discussion, according to sensory evaluation, as scholar and general acceptability shows significant differences, while aroma, taste, and texture, not significant difference was detected. For the color, the results of the descriptive mean evaluation and the product was presented. Treatment 1 with new addition of seaweed gel has a comparable effect to treatment 3 with 4% seaweed gel and significantly higher than the rest of the treatments. The result of the study showed a comparable result of the study of Monso et al. In 2021, using chicken sausage inclusion of seaweed altered the color characteristics. That's why chicken sausage darkened as more seaweed was added. Adding dietary fiber influenced water holding capacity and color. For the general acceptability, treatment 2 with 2% of seaweed gel has a significant effect with treatment 5 with 8% of seaweed gel. Treatments with 4%, 6%, and no seaweed gel were comparable. Consequently, treatment 2 was rated as like very much, while treatment 1, 3, 4, and 5 were rated like moderately by the evaluators. Results of the study show that as the amount of seaweed gel increased, there is a decrease in the overall acceptability of the product. As reported by Mohammed et al. In 2022, that consumers favored lower seaweed content sausages, just like in their study about the inclusion level of selected brown and red seaweed in pork sausages that resulted evaluators' preference for sausage was in the order nori, while in the study, color changes in pork sausages dependent on the type and quantity of pigments present in seaweeds and the inclusion level of seaweeds used. For the microbial analysis, initial microbial counting was done immediately after the product was prepared to assess microbial quality of the product and to determine the trend of microbial count across the different treatments. As seaweed gel increased, microbial count decreased. Statistically, there was a significant difference among treatments. Treatment 1 and 5 shows a significant difference of 0.033 was observed in 3 days of storage using Dan's pairwise test. For the nutritional analysis, the proximate composition of milkfish sausage containing seaweed gel are shown in Table 5. There are 3 treatments subjected to nutritional analysis, which is treatment 1, 2, and 3, which obtained the first 3 highest mean score of the general acceptability. Dry ashing method was performed for potassium, magnesium, zinc, and iron, while Kidal method for crude protein, gravimetric for moisture and ash, while Soxlet method for crude fat. For the conclusion, based on the result of the study, the following conclusions are drawn. The addition of 2% seaweed gel has comparable effect with the control as to color. Addition of 8% seaweed gel is a comparable effect to treatment 2 with 2% seaweed gel as to general acceptability, which makes the result significant. But aroma, taste, and texture had no significant difference among treatments. For the second conclusion, addition of 8% seaweed gel is the most acceptable and had a comparable effect to treatments with addition of 2% seaweed gel. Treatment 5 with 32 grams of seaweed gel and control have a comparable effect on the microbial analysis of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage in 3 days storage. There are 8 components compose the proximate analysis. Magnesium shows a highest result as incorporation of seaweed gel increases and moisture decreases as seaweed gel increases, while the remaining components are at a varying level. For the recommendation, based on the result of the study, the following recommendations are suggested. First, to conduct study on cooking loss of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. Second, conduct study on physicochemical parameter analysis of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. The third, conduct study on moisture content of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. And for the last one, conduct on shelf life analysis of seaweed-enriched milkfish sausage. That's all, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Daisy. And now may I call in again Dr. Ruem for your insights.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. It's very interesting, very good research. and we inform you just like before. We also have bandeng fish over here, milk fish. The milk fish or bandeng or bolu in Sulawesi. Yeah. Huh? Bolu, yes. Bolu, bandeng or milk fish. Also bahas dilihara. Maintain in the tambak, yeah, also in tambak in Tarakan, North Kalimantan, especially in Tarakan, we also have a huge amount of milk fish production. But I just confirmed to my college here from the fisheries product department. There is just one research done by in the UBT working with fish sources. So it's new information, not for me but for us in Tarakan. So the milk fish idea is very interesting because one of the problem in providing seafood-based food is how to maintain its freshness. Because in the industrial level, the highest cost maybe in fisheries is not only the operation but the high cost is because how to maintain the freshness and deliver the product in good condition. So because just like before, I said before, the Tarakan is a huge producer. We also in here starting on 2021, we has export the milk fish to the Taiwan and China, and it's reached 25 tons per shipment, but it's still not meet the requirement. The demand from the China, its requirement up to 80 to 100 tons per shipment. So maybe it's too abundant for us in little island, but it's not enough. The amount is not enough. So the industry of the fisheries industry and the derivative product is still fast challenging, very fast opportunity, and I think this research should be, maybe we have here in fisheries product, maybe we can do some collaborative research with the lecture from SPAMAST. But I'm sorry, because many of us here is Muslim, we have some issue with the pork fat. Maybe it's just maybe we can do some maybe some reformulation, maybe with some another ingredients, so the product can reach the Muslim community. But it's still a very, very good. So we never do that. We just want we don't have any fish sauces, yeah? No, we just still ongoing. Also, Ibu Hikmah, still ongoing. So SPAMAST just finished. We still working on that. So SPAMAST in 1 or 2 steps ahead from our in here. Thank you. It's very good. Thank you. Very good. Very good. We have no audio here.
Okay. So again, This crab has a high economic and nutritional value in a variety of forms, including live crab, soft shell crab. Hence, cannibalism is one of the primary reasons for failed attempts to create culture methods for a range of mud crab species. Mangrove area is the mud crab's main habitat, and we, the researchers, want to collaborate the mangrove ecosystem, and bucket was initialized further cannibalism. So for the different type of feeds, we have trash fish, commercial feeds, horn snail, and 50% of horn snail and 50% of trash fish. So for the purpose of this study, it is to investigate and assess the growth, survival, as well as the physical-chemical parameters of the mud crab reared in crab bucket. The research is intended to yield new knowledge on a more efficient, environmental friendly, home-sized and crab growing method that can overcome the problem of traditional mud crab farming. For the materials and methods, we have procured the mud crab species from Tagum, and we have set up the crab bucket system. And next, we measured and the weight, the carapace length, and the carapace acclimatization stage. For the mud crab size, we've started at 19.1 to 64.4 grams in weight. For the carapace length, we have 25 to 42 millimeter, and carapace width for 38 to 66 millimeter. For the stocking, we have provided 36 aquaculture crab bucket. So 36 mud crabs were stocked individually in each bucket. For the feeding, the mud crabs were fed twice a day at 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. at 5% body weight of its body weight. For the sampling frequency, it is every 15 days, formulated by gain, absolute growth rate, specific growth rate, carapace length, width, and survival rate were calculated for different treatment. So this is our actual setup, and let's proceed to result and discussion. For the final weight, the result shows that there is significantly higher absolute growth rate was observed in mud crabs fed with horn snail than those fed with trash fish, combination of horn snail and trash fish, as well as commercial feeds. So it's been illustrated that commercial feeds obtain the lowest absolute growth rate, while the horn snail has the highest AJR. For the carapace width and length, the result shows that there was no statistically difference in carapace width and length. According to Hart, Nod, and Abel, the increase in carapace width and length of crustaceans varied among individuals going through the same molt. The researchers did not observe the species molting stage for this investigation. Because crabs cannot grow linearly like most animals do, and because they have a hard outer shell or its exoskeleton that does not grow, they must shed their shells. The possibility why there is no significant difference between the treatments is that the days of culture were done in a short period of time, so molting stage is not possible. For the survival rate, we have here the trash fish gained the highest survival rate. That obtained 88%, and the lowest survival rate was the commercial feeds with the percentage of 44.44. For the physical-chemical parameters, we have dissolved oxygen of 6.41, the salinity 10.31, the pH 7.62, and the temperature of 25.5. So after the culture period, we have come into some conclusions. Number one conclusion, the use of horned snail as a feed of mud crab in aquasilviculture system has comparable effect on the growth in terms of weight of the cultured mud crab. Number two, the use of trash fish as a feed of mud crab in aquasilviculture system has comparable effect in carapace width of the cultured mud crab. The use of horned snail as a feed of mud crab in aquasilviculture system has comparable effect of carapace width in terms of SGR. Conclusion number 4, the use of trash fish as a feed of mud crab in aquasilviculture system has comparable effect on the growth in terms of carapace length of the cultured mud crab. Next, the use of trash fish as a feed of mud crab in aquasilviculture system has a comparable effect on survival rate. And number 6, the use of horned snail as a feed of mud crab has comparable effect on feed conversion ratio. And lastly, water quality parameters of culture media by using the aquasilviculture system were still within the proper range for the life of mud crab. Further recommendation, number 1 recommendation, the use of horned snail is recommended feed in mud crab culture. Further investigation of horned snail as feed for mud crab is recommended. And lastly, conduct a similar study using higher stocking density for a longer duration of culture period, and other physicochemical parameters is recommended to validate the result of this study. So here are our references, and thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Keye. Once again, let's hear some insights from our reactor, Dr. Ruem.
Okay, thank you. It's very, very impressive. This is the first time, the first-hand information I got from this presentation. That's the Ceritium, maybe all the Ceritidae family as a food for mangrove crab, because this Ceritium genus, the species, and maybe all the Ceritidae family member, it's very abundant in mangrove ecosystem, and also in my research in seagrass ecosystem. It is nice to know the ecological role of this Ceritidae in real ecosystem. So, and also the mangrove crab, the Scylla, Tarakan, and also along the coastline of North Kalimantan to the East Kalimantan is vegetated by mangrove ecosystem. We have a very abundant mud crab, the Scylla. We also export this. We also culture this. We also culture and produce the export the mud crab in live, hard live, and also in soft shell crab. We have Dr. Happy Iromo in University of Borneo Tarakan working in especially in mud crab in term of aquaculture, larva production. He got his Ph.D. in larva production, bro. Yes. And also he's working now in how to set up the hatchery, because the hard phase of this culture is the larva phase to PL30, I think. Yeah? PL30. PL30. So yes, at Megalopa state. So and also Dr. Happy Iromo produced and Dr. Aziz also produced the molting induced mud crab molting induced by feeding with spinach, yeah, with spinach like Popeye the Sailor Man, spinach vegetable, yeah, extract. Yeah? Oh, and yes, the thyroxine. So the hormone induced to produce to induce the molting of the mud crab. So the mud crab has can be reach the market with the soft shell and in a better value than the with the hard shell. Because if we go to market the hard shell crab, it should be alive. It should be alive. In Tarakan, we every night we export the mud crab around one to up to 2 ton every night, going to Tawau in Malaysia, in Sabah, and then from Sabah they send it to the China and Singapore. So the prospect of research in mud crab, it's still it's a good, and it's and also it's have a high demand in international market. I just track him in the trade maps. We can see the fisheries commodity trade in trade map. I just finished the research in 2021 in the issue of the fisheries market, international product market, especially in North Kalimantan. Where is our fish, our prawn, our crab go? We send to Malaysia. So I think it's very interesting session. I would like to say thank you to our college in SPAMAST, Salamat, and to the student, Mabuhay. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Once again, thank you, Dr. Ruem, for sharing with us your thoughts and knowledge to our presenter and to Dr. Ruem. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruem. And we still have time. Is it okay to have our presenters from the UBT? Okay, we will proceed with the presentation from the UBT. The reactor is coming from the Southern Philippines Agri-business and Marine and Aquatic School of Technology. All right, now, the first presenter from UBT is Elisa Ibrahim. She will be sharing with us the research study, the growth of the von Bertalanffy model of Nami fish from the Nunukan waters, Nunukan Regency. Let's give a round of applause, please. Okay, while our partners from UBT are still preparing, would like to request everyone to please share the link of this international forum. Kindly invite your friends, your colleagues to witness this international forum research presentation of research studies in the fields of fisheries and marine sciences.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon.
My name is Elisa Ibrahim. I'm from Aquatic Resources Management, and I would like to present our presentation, the growth of the bone bottle model of Nome fish from Nunukan waters, Nunukan Regency. Nunukan Regency, located in North Kalimantan, is known for its diverse aquatic environment and vibrant marine ecosystem. The waters of Nunukan provide a habitat for numerous species, including the Nome fish, which holds ecological and economic significance in the region. Nome fish, or its scientific name, Harpodon nihilus, is a type of fish with soft body texture and very high economic value. Nome fish, which are dominantly found in the waters of Juata Tarakan City, are usually called marshy fish by local fishermen. Nome fish breed on the bottom of the mud in group in coastal areas and downstream river estuaries with a size of about 40 till 50 centimeter, generally 10 till 30 centimeter. According to Nugroho et al. 2017, Nome fish are classified as predators. These Nome fish are often found in the waters of Juata Tarakan City as an endemic animal. Based on the result of interview with fishermen with mini troll fishing gear in the Juata Laut coastal area of Tarakan City, Nome fish were also found in the Nunukan waters, Nunukan Regency, and the Tanjung Aus waters. Responsible catching of Nome fish with no regard to the population will impact local fishermen income negatively. Therefore, it is of utmost importance to properly maintain and preserve the population of Nome fish in the sea waters of Tarakan. Based on the result of, many fishermen catch in the waters of the Juata Laut, Tarakan City. If the catch of Nome fish start to decrease, fishermen carry out fishing activities in the Nunukan waters area, Nunukan Regency. However, the travel time for fishermen to go to Nunukan waters is about 1 day and forces them to stay outside in the seas than to fishing for Nome starts when it's high tide. Nome fish is a soft type of fish that is a high enough economic value to be used sustainably. Based on interview with fishermen, the price per kilogram of dried fish in the form of salted fish reaches 170,000 rupiah. Based on interview with Nome fish fishermen, the price of Nome fish from the catch is about 600,000 per 25 kilogram. Due to the increase in fishing gear for mini troll fishing, which causes the decline of Nome fish population in both Nunukan waters and Juata Laut waters, the research on Nome fish is of the utmost importance. Research on Nome fish was carried out for 2 months in June and July 2022. Nome fish was sampled. The research results were obtained from samples originating from the waters of Nunukan Regency. The research result on the growth rate of Nome fish caught using mini troll fishing gear in Nunukan waters. Based on the age structure data using the method according to Spur et al. 1999 using class shift mode to obtain a linear regression formula, Pauli 1984 bone bottle growth model with sample of Nome fish in June 2020 and July as follows: y equals negative 0.288 x times r square equals 0.984. Next. According to Pauli 1980 and Spar and Panama 1999, the value of K is parameter that explain the speed of fish growth in reaching asymptotic rate. According to Kotrija et al. 2018, the relatively low K value in the linear regression equation of the age size structure model. Nome fish generally have a relative long life. Next. Fishermen catch from the waters of Nunukan area as many as 444 samples of male nome fish and 96 samples of male nome fish have a length range of 23,354 centimeters at the age of about 362 days and a size of 96 centimeters at the age of 261 days. As we can see at the figure 3, where male and female nome fish in June 2022 can reach a maximum length of 23,354 centimeters and to 21,867 centimeters. The speed is equal to 0 with an average growth rate of 0.0288 centimeter and 0.45 centimeter with ages reaching 352 days and 261 days with where values of 0.999 and 0.99. Next. According to Sarwono 2006, if the range of correlation coefficient values is between 0.999, it explains that the relationship between the two variables has a very strong relationship, so that from the graph of fish growth in the one vertical growth model on the x-axis is time or days, and the y-axis is the total length of the nome fish. The growth model uses one vertical in estimating the age structure of the nome fish with its total asymptotic or L infinity, and the growth coefficient can be calculated through the morphic of the nome fish using the Djaya method in 1967 for engineering based on the age group that represented the size of the nome fish. Estimated growth using a linear equation based on the opinion of Gallen and all, 1959, Spar and Benem 1919, so that the size structure of male and female nome fish. Next. In figure 4, there is a linear regression equation graph for men and women. In July 2022, the maximum growth reached 30.71 centimeters at 456 days of age and 26,733 centimeters at 430 days at age. According to Faiza and Sadia 2019, differences in the sex of aquatic biota species are caused by the effect of differences in embryo in the field, on location and water content. Was 562 samples, of which 259 samples of nome fish were male and 293 samples of male nome fish, and the size of 269 samples of male nome fish had a total length range of 30.71 centimeters with a size of 293 samples of female fish whose length was 26,783 centimeters. The result of the study on the growth of male fish reached a maximum growth of 30.71 centimeters of 0.0238 centimeters at age 1.63 days. In female fish, the asymptotic length was 23,783 centimeters with a growth rate of 0.0267 centimeters with an age of 1.6329 days. Based on the result of data processing of female nome fish in figure. Next. According to Sarwono, 2006, if the value of the correlation coefficient between 0.99 indicates that two different variables have a very strong relationship, and according to Firdaus et al., explained that male and female nomates in aquatic habitat are often given to meet food needs in the water, one of which is in the University of Tarakan, because there is an average level of safety. According to Salim et al., explained that in the process of growth, fish need energy to meet growth needs to achieve acidic or photosynthesis. The conclusion from the result of research on the world mortality model in Nunukan water, Nunukan Regency, are as follows. The first one, the asymptotic growth of male nome fish in June and July 2020 was higher than the asymptotic growth of female nome fish, and the second, growth speed of female nome fish in June and July 2022 in asymptotic growth is faster than male nome fish. Okay, that's all I can present. Thank you for attention.
All right. All right, congratulations, Ms. Ibrahim. And now I would like to call in the reactor for okay lang, sir. For UBT, a round of applause to Dr. Pedro M. Avimido.
Okay, our friends from Indonesia, good morning. So, the study on the growth of Born-Bertalanffy model on nome fish or Harpodon ratios was conducted in the province of Indonesia. And with this study, I would like to comment or to extend my commendations to the researchers who made this study. So, for nome fish, the nome fish is, I think, abundant in Indonesia, but here in the Philippines, it's not that abundant and it's not that significant to us. So, nome fish is a bottom dweller species, which are small in size. And this is scientifically known as Harpodon heresios. And in English name, we call it as the lizard fish. Okay, being a bottom dweller fish, I think someone is expecting that it would be high in mercury concentration, the meat, but sadly, the concentration of mercury in the flesh and the body of this species is very low. When in fact, this species is more advantageous to many because it contains high concentration of omega-3 that is good for the heart of the consumers. So, in the other hand, von Bertalanffy, if I know the complete name of von Bertalanffy is Carl Ludwig von Bertalanffy. He was born on September 19, 1901, and he died on June 12, 1972. And he introduced this model way back in 1934, but until now, several researchers is using this model. So the model can be utilized in modeling growth of a population of a species, either using the length or the weight as a biological indicator. So for this study, I understood that your study was carried out in a period of 2 months, and that your data is very limited to show the comprehensive pattern or model for the growth of the species being or under investigation. So if I may suggest, those preliminary data can be added to a continuous monitoring of the species so that you would have a data of a year or more than a year data to completely model the growth of the species under your study. Then in your presentation, if I may verify some of the figures, so you have the maximum growth rate of 23,000, you have the maximum growth rate of 21,867 centimeter. So I am wondering how these values came out. Because if we look at the species, I cannot imagine how giant the species was. Then, as I go over your paper, I found out that you failed to clearly state the objective of your problem, and that the objective is a very important words that would guide us as a researcher on what to accomplish for this study. And I would appreciate also in the growth model if you would put the length infinity value during the sampling of June and July, and also the K value, although it is in the text but not in the graph, but instead you were using the result of your analysis using the linear regression. So for further discussions of your result, I think all you have to do is the consistencies and using the words. And also, please do not forget to put labels on your figures. For example, the age structure graph. So the X and Y axis, and so with Born-Bertalanffy doesn't have model. No, label. So I don't know what is the X-axis, I don't know the Y-axis. So it would be a good idea to put them in this figure. And that also, lastly, with the Born-Bertalanffy model, I am looking forward that you will also have other species which are economically important in your area. So for all those that I see, so once again, I would like to extend my commendations to the researchers and congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Avenido, and congratulations to Miss Elisa Ibrahim. A hand, please, once again, to Miss Elisa. Okay, I think we will move on to the next presenter from UBT. I would like to call in Miss Patrice Sevania for her presentation entitled Performance of Maggot Combination Pellet Feeding on Tilapia Growth. A hand, please, to Miss Patricia Sevania.
Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for
Yes, Miss
the
Patrice,
opportunity.
go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for your participating. And it's an honor to me to be here as a presenter in this research sharing presentation and marine studies by the University of Borneo Tarakan and Southern Philippines Agri-business and Marine and Aquatic School of Technology, SPAMAST. Let me introduce myself. My name is Patrice Sevania. I represent my team as the author of this paper from Aquaculture Study Program, Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, University of Borneo Tarakan. Today, I will discuss about our paper with the title, Performation of Maggot Hermetia illucens, Combination Pellet Feeding on Tilapia Oreochromis niloticus. But before we move into the main part of the presentation, I will read the aim of the research. So, this research is aimed to assess the effectiveness of using maggots as an alternative fish feed. Slides before, please. No, slides number 3. Slide 3. Okay. I will replay. This research aimed to assess the effectiveness of using maggots as an alternative fish feed with commercial pellet feed in tilapia aquaculture. Next, please. My presentation will be in 5 parts. I will start with the introduction. No, content, slide content, please. Yes. I will start with the introduction, then identify the problem, research methods, result and discussion, and the last is conclusion. Well, I will give you some background about this research. I'll begin with tilapia. Next, please. Tilapia production is continuous to increase and improve. In Indonesia, tilapia production increased by 1.12% from 2015 and 2019. According to data from Indonesian Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries in 2020, tilapia aquaculture business is also growing. So it is necessary to provide high quality feed to increase production. Since the commercial feed is expensive, alternative feeds need to be developed. Next. One of the most potential organisms as an alternative feed is maggots. Maggot is the larvae of the black soldier fly, Hermetia illucens, also known as BSF maggots. It feeds on organic matter, such as vegetables, crab fruit, and the other organic waste, so maggot can convert organic materials. Depending on their feed, maggot have a protein content ranging from 30 to 50%, according to Wardana in 2017. And according to Fahmi et al. 2009, give maggot as fish feed can also increase the fish immune system. Next. So here is the identification of the problem. The first is the high price of commercial feed for fish. Commercial feed is expensive because the raw materials are imported. For example, fish meal is imported from Chile and Norway. And the second one is increased amount of organic waste in Tarakan City. Based on data from Tarakan City Environmental Agency, the organic waste production in Tarakan reaches 140 tons per day. And the third is alternative tilapia feed with high nutrition and economically feasible need to develop because it will reduce the cost of providing feed. Next, please. And now we're going to the research methods. This research was conducted for 21 days in the Mini Hatchery Laboratory, Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, University of Borneo Tarakan. The tools used are a rearing tank, pump, water reservoir, hose, skizzers, scales, and roller. The material used are tilapia with a size 5 to 6 centimeters, commercial pellet feed, fresh BSF maggot, and distilled water. Next. This research was divided into 5 treatments with 3 replication. As you can see in the slide, treatment 1 is 100% commercial pellet. Treatment 2 is 25% fresh BSF maggots and 75% commercial pellet feed. Treatment 3 is 50% fresh BSF maggots and 50% commercial pellet feed. In treatment 4, there is 75 fresh BSF maggots and 25 commercial pellet feed. And the last one is treatment 5 is 100% of fresh BSF maggot give for fish. The data taken in this research are absolute growth, specific growth rate, and survival rate. This research was conducted by raising maggot first with using organic waste, then give as feed to the fish. Feed is given by giving pellet first. After that, then the fresh maggot is given. Feed given in the morning and every evening, every day. Next. Here is the result and the discussion. As you can see in the slides, the first point is absolute growth. The graph shows that the best absolute growth in tilapia was in treatment 4, and the lowest was in the treatment 2. As well as on, next please. As well as on specific growth rate, or SGR, you can see that the best growth in the tilapia was in treatment 4, and the lowest one is also found in the treatment 2. Based on the observation, fish in the treatment 4 responded well the feed given in, contrast to the other treatment. Next, please. The next point is the survival rate. The graph shows that the survival rate is high in treatment 3, and the lowest one is found in treatment 5. The treatment 3, which was wet, 50% make it, and 50% commercial feed. And the lowest was in the treatment 4 is giving 100% make it. That attract fish to eat. Fresh BSF maggot has also a layer of chitin on its skin that cause difficult for fish to digest and disrupting their digestion. This leaves the fish lack of nutrients and low immune system and leading to death. The results show that the use of fresh maggot as fish feed is less effective. Because some fish don't want to eat maggot, it would be better if maggot is processed first, such as dried maggot, and the used dried maggot will also extend the life of maggot. Let me sum up the main point. The first is the combination of pellet feed and Hermetia illucens maggot affects the growth performance of tilapia fish. Second, the best growth effect on tilapia fish is found in the combination of 25% pellet feed and 75% maggots with an absolute growth of 1.98 grams. The last one is maggot can be used as an alternative feed with high nutritional and economically feasible for tilapia fish farming. Next, please. Okay, this is the documentation of our activities during the research. Next, please. That's all for me today. Thank you for your great attention. I apologize for having some mistakes in my presentation, and I hope you understand it. Thank you again, and good afternoon.
Thank you, and congratulations, Ms. Patrice Sevania. Now I will call in our reactor. May we hear some insights from our reactor, Dr. Pedro Avenido. Once again, a round of applause.
Okay, congratulations, researcher and presenter. So your study on feeding Oreochromis niloticus with a combination of commercial pellets and live, I don't know if this is live, not mentioned in the methodology. Combination of maggot. So actually the maggot has different concentration as I read over. The approximate analysis of maggot or the sol is BF. So the flies, in the cultivation of the flies, simply by putting some decomposed or about to decompose materials like plant materials, like animals, and the maggots will appear. So the issue that I want to share with this is that the issue on the microbial load of the maggots that is incorporated to the feed, if the maggots has high concentration of salmonella or Escherichia in the other hand that is not beneficial to the consumer, and they're incorporated in your report on this regard. So tilapia is a common species in the tropical regions like in the Philippines as well as with your country, Indonesia. So this is commonly studied fish in the Philippines. And in your study, I feel this is a unique study that you have conducted, and we in the Southern Philippines, Agri-business and Marine Aquatic School of Technology have not yet done this study using maggots because of those issues. So for the period of your study, this is only 30 days, and that 30 days you made sampling at 7 days interval. And I don't know if the result is conclusive in regard that the study period is very short in time, and that growth of organisms may be affected by several factors. Example, the age, the condition of the rearing environment. That includes the physicochemical of the parameters of the waters, the quantity and the quality of the feed that is being given to the animal would be significant in determining the growth. So another is the population or the number of individuals in a confinement. The more individual, the lesser is the area for them, and possibly the release of energy would be low, and that food metabolized by the animal could be used for growth. I also understand in your study that in the first paragraph of your results and discussion, you have there the statement on the relative growth and your FCR. And I was looking on this figure since you included this in your presentation in the result. But as I go over the whole paper, you were not able to calculate the FCR of your species in this study. And for the sake of presentation, like sharing of research as this activity we had this morning, so it would be advantageous to present to us your results in tabular form rather than in all narrative form. And in the discussion, I am looking for more discussion on why the provision of 25% commercial pellets and 75% maggots enhance the growth of the Oreochromis niloticus compared to the 30% and 30%. So it would be beneficial also for this study if you mentioned on how the maggots are being used as feed. Would it be a live feed, or was it incorporated in the formulation of a feed? So for this title, so you have the commercial plus the live, and that is my expectation. So in the FCR part, as you included in your result, so it is also important to note how many maggots, what was the weight of each individual maggot that will be used, since you mentioned of the feeding rate at 4%. So if 4%, how many individuals of maggots and how many pieces of pellets would constitute the 4%? And that 4% is it based on ABW or based on the total weight of the species? But then this study, I think, is a good start for the university, and just continue conducting this study for considerable period of time, that is to include and to compensate all the factors that may affect the growth along the way in its culture period. So for this paper, once again, congratulations and good morning, everyone there in Indonesia.
Thank you, sir, for the advice. It's very useful for the further development.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pedro Avenido. Congratulations, Ms. Patrice, for such a wonderful presentation. Again, let's give a round of applause to our first two presenters from UB team. And we have now concluded the first part of this research presentation. I think let's take a well-deserved break and enjoy a satisfying lunch. We will resume the presentation at 1 p.m. So the last presenter will be will present this afternoon at 1 p.m. Okay, so I think we will take this time to relax and recharge. And we look forward to reconvening with you soon at 1 p.m. Have a fantastic day ahead and see you in a little while. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Time check, it is now 12:50. We will start and we will resume our program at 1 o'clock. So requesting everyone to please prepare yourselves. To our participants from SPAMAST, I would like to request everyone we can go back to our seats and we can also enter again the Zoom link. Thank you once again. See you at 1 p.m. It is now exactly 1 p.m. Are we ready? Okay, so we will resume this activity, and at this point in time, we will be hearing research presentation. The last presenter from the University of Borneo Tarakan, and our final presentation to be given to us by Ms. Yustanti, a research entitled The Characterization of Gelatin from Chanos Fishbone Waste and its Potential for Edible Film Application. Let's give a round of applause, please, to Ms. Yustanti.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say thank you for coming to this presentation. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Yustanti. I'm a student from the Department of Fisheries Product Technology, University of Borneo Tarakan. So on this occasion, I want to explain about my research, the characterization of gelatin from Chanos fishbone waste and its potential film application. Next. So currently, the most of the packaging used is a packaging derived from synthetic polymers or plastic. The synthetic plastic, especially for packing food. However, these foods can be contaminated with plastic because of the presence of several carcinogenic compounds that can enter the packaged food. Besides that, plastic has a bad impact of the environment because it is very difficult to decompose in nature. One source of plastic waste is in the form of seasoning packaging. The synthesis seasoning packaging cannot be decomposed and pollute the environment and leave waste. So based on these problems, it is necessary to have an alternative material for making seasoning packaging. So the one of the solution is using edible film. Edible film is a thin layer that can be eaten and used as a food packaging material. The hydrocolloid group, especially gelatin, is one of the main components that can be used as edible film. The gelatin is a substance obtained from the extraction of ligament, collagen, or the skin of animals such as pig, cow, and fish. The gelatin has the expected property because of its ability to form films and its high barrier property. The abundance of gelatin is found in several sources, namely animal bones such as chicken, pig, cow, and animal skins. The gelatin can be also synthesized from the byproduct of the fishing industry, milkfish bone. The milkfish bone can be processed into gelatin through the collagen hydrolysis process. This material can be used as an alternative source for making gelatin because of its high collagen content, which is 32.99%. Next. This research was conducted from November 2022 to April 2023 at the Fisheries Product Technology Laboratory, Nutrition Laboratory, Environmental Laboratory, and Water Quality Laboratory, Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, Universitas Borneo Tarakan, and UPT Integrated Laboratory, Universitas Diponegoro. Next. So, in this research, there are two parts. The first is the synthesis of gelatin from milkfish bone, and the second is the synthesis of edible film. So, milkfish bone are processed into gelatin through 4 stages, namely degrassing, demineralization, extraction, and drying. So, at the degrassing process, the milkfish bone were washed or cleaned. The cleaning process can be facilitated by heating with a boiling water for 1 hour. So in this process, residue, fat, and meat from the bones was removed by washing with running water. After the washing process, the fish bone were drained and grinded with a blender. So the next process is demineralization. This stage is carried out by remove mineral salt and calcium contained in the bones so that the bones become soft, or we call acine, which contain collagen in them. The demineralization process in milkfish bone is carried out by soaking clean bones into 7% citric acid solution with a ratio 1:3 for 48 hours. So the next is extraction. So acine was extracted with distilled water, and the ratio was 1:3, and acine was extracted at 70 degrees Celsius for 6 hours. And then the next drying. So the extract filtrate was evaporated for 48 hours in an oven at 60 degrees Celsius. And then the second part is the synthesis of edible film. So we have gelatin, dissolving 2 grams of gelatin in 28.56 milliliter of distilled water, and we add 0.01 milliliter of glycerol, and the entire mixture was heated for 50 minutes at 45 degrees Celsius. And after that, the edible film obtained was applied to seasoning to observe its protective power to the product. Next. So this is the data analysis. There are solubility, thickness, water content, tensile strength, and elongation. Next. So this is a result in discussion. So from the degrassing process, in this process, as I said before, residue, fat, and meat from the bones was removed by washing with running water. And there is a change in the appearance of the fish bone before and after washing. So the fish bone before washing are yellow, while after washing and cleaning, the fish bone turn white. And then for the demineralization process, the citric acid also react with calcium phosphate found in fish bone and produce phosphoric acid and calcium citrate, which dissolve in water. So the sucking process produce acine with a soft texture. Next. So this is a extraction process. So the principle of this extraction was to break the hydrogen bonds in the tropocollagen molecule. In this process, collagen fibers that are insoluble in water transform to gelatin, which is soluble and easily absorbed. And then the next is drying. So the extract filtrate was evaporated at 60 degrees Celsius for 48 hours in an oven, and yellow gelatin sheet were obtained. The gelatin sheet were grinded with a blender to form gelatin powder. Next. So this is the yield obtained from the study was 6%. So from the 500 grams of fish bone were obtained 30 grams of gelatin. Next. So this is the gelatin viscosity. So the viscosity for milkfish bone gelatin
was 5 centipoise. This showed that the milkfish bone gelatin synthesized meets GMIA standard, which is the viscosity standard for gelatin required by GMA at 2012 is between 1.5 to 7.5 centipoise. Next. So this is the characteristic of edible film. There are a thickness. So based on this research, edible film from milkfish bone gelatin has a thickness value of 0.198 millimeter. The thickness of the fabricated edible film met the requirement for edible film to be used as a primary packaging for food ingredients in Japanese industrial standard, maximum thickness of 0.25 millimeter. Next. So this is a solubility. So in this research, edible film from milkfish bone gelatin has a solubility of 94.9197%. The high solubility film is thought to be due to the gelatinous property were easy to soluble in water. In the other hand, the addition of glycerol led to increase the solubility of the edible film. Next. From this research, edible film from milkfish bone gelatin has a water content of 17.39%. This water content of film is still relatively high, and this of SN 190-94, which is a maximum of 15%. So further research is needed to reduce the water content in edible film gelatin. Next. This is the tensile strength. In the study, the result of the tensile strength of the edible film were 2.53 MPa, and the result of this tensile strength were not up to the Japanese industrial standard, which is a minimum of 3.92 MPa for the tensile strength value of the edible film. Next. This is the elongation. In the study, the result of the elongation were 270.5%, and the elongation result met the Japanese industrial standard for the elongation value of edible film minimum in 5%. Next. And this is the edible film application as a seasoning packaging. So on the 7th day, as you can see, the color of the seasoning powder show a constant appearance. The aroma still retained the distinctive aroma of the seasoning powder, and the texture was in the form of granules. On the 4th day, the seasoning wrapped in edible film still show a same appearance. The aroma still retained the distinctive aroma of the seasoning powder, and the texture start to a little lumpy and a little wet. So on the 21st day, the color of the seasoning changed to slightly dark yellow, and the aroma started to turn a little pungent. The texture was lumpy and wet. On the 28th day, the color of the seasoning showed a change in the form of a dark yellow color. The aroma was also more pungent, and the texture was lumpy and wet. And then on the 35th day, the seasoning powder were dark yellow, the aroma was pungent, the texture was wet and lumpy. Next. So based on this result of the study, it can be concluded as follows. The result obtained in the edible film gelatin solubility test yield a value of 94.9197%. And then in the thickness test, the result was 0.198 millimeter, and it met the Japanese industrial standard for maximum edible film thickness, 0.25 millimeter. And then in water content test, the result was 17.39% and did not meet SNE 1090-94, which is the maximum water content of 15%. And then the tensile strength result 2.43 MPa and did not meet the Japanese industrial standard minimum tensile strength of 3.92 MPa. And in the elongation test, a result of 270.5% was obtained and met the Japanese industrial standard elongation at least 5%.
And then the second, milkfish bone gelatin edible film can maintain the physical appearance of the seasoning until the 7th day. The texture of the seasoning powder began to clump on the 14th day of storage, and the aroma began to sting on the 21st day of storage. Next. Okay, thank you for my presentation.
All right, congratulations. Now I would like to call in our reactor for this afternoon. Once again, a round of applause to Dr. Pedro M. Avenido.
Okay, first and foremost, good afternoon, our counterparts from Indonesia. Okay, before I proceed to my observation and reactions to the paper, so I am looking forward for a possible linkage or collaboration between SPAMAST and your university, because recently we have the newly constructed processing hub, and that processing hub is processing milkfish, that is the bone. And the bones that are removed from the body of the fish are being discarded and thrown away as waste. So this research is a good avenue for utilizing the waste product from the processing plant into something that is useful as a packaging material, as similar to your study, and that this material is environment friendly to replace the plastics materials which are being used as a packing material for seasoning products. Also with other researches that has been presented this morning. So I am also looking for your university and SPAMAST have the same background. We are working on fisheries and marine sciences, and we are also concerned with the conservation of nature, so that coming up with research like this is very advantageous to both of us. So for the technical observations that I have, if I may know, how many trials did you have for these studies? Okay, so I believe that there is only a single run, no replications that based on the result presented. So it might be a good thing to have a series of tests as a replicate for this product, so that we could be conclusive on our findings and recommend that this product could be used as a substitute to the packaging material available in the market. So the species that you are using is the Chanus for skull, or the milkfish. And milkfish is very abundant in tropical regions and also in the Indo-West Pacific. So Philippines and Indonesia have more or less the same climate, that we are in the tropical region, and this species abound in our territories. So in the production of gelatin, so I believe that most of the animals possesses collagen, and the concentration of the collagen that could be extracted from this animal differs from species to species. And I feel that using other species also as a source of gelatin or collagen for extraction of gelatin as a packing material for seasoning products shall be tested in the future. Example, some of the species like those that belong to the race or the invertebrates like stingrays. So they have more concentration of collagen, and also some other species like parrotfishes that contain higher collagen. And I feel that they are potential to the source of collagen for gelatin formation or production that will be used as a packing material. So in the study, you have a literature, and those literature mention specifically of source of gelatin coming from algae, and you enumerated like the use of Olva lactoca and the use of Kappa ficus as a source of carrageenan for the production of gelatin. So basically, based on the result of your study, so it would be more advantageous if you will present table of standards based on the characteristics that you considered in this study. As you mentioned, there are characteristics of met the standards set by the Japanese government and other agencies. So for basis of comparison, I think I feel that you have to present also different results from different studies, including the standards. So as far as this study is concerned, I see that this is beneficial and that the production of this gelatin film is good only for 35 days, meaning we need to expose the product or dispose the product to the consumers before 35 days. So the shelf life of the gelatin film that you produce, as indicated in the result, started to become pungent and the aroma changes as well as with the texture that become wet and humpy in nature after 35 days. Again, for this paper, I am congratulating the researchers for having this effort, conducting a research study that is environment friendly. So for all of this, partners in Indonesia, congratulations, and I'm looking forward that we will have more endeavors in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pedro M. Ladies from UBT and Southern Philippines Agri-business and Marine and Aquatic School of Technology. Please join me in giving a round of applause to all the presenters for their remarkable work and insightful contributions to their respective fields with us today. Thank you for being a part of this enriching event. Now, at this juncture, allow me to award this certificate to our presenters. Let me read the citation. Certificate of Recognition. '23 signed by Dr. Ariel Isa Jose, Director of International Linkages of SPAMAST, and Professor Dr. Adri Paton, Rector of UBT, and signed by Dr. Grace D. Boncillo, Vice President of Academic Affairs, SPAMAST. A round of applause to Patrice Sevania, Elisa Ibrahim, Yustanti, Keye B. Necesario, Christy Ann Cabigas, and Daisy A. Hios. And we would also like to express our gratitude to our reactors. Certificate of recognition is given to for his outstanding service as reactor during the research sharing presentation in Fisheries and Marine Studies on May 24, 2023, given this 24th day of May 2023, signed by Dr. Ariel Isa Jose, Director for International Affairs and Linkages, Professor Dr. Adri Paton, Rector of UBT, and Dr. Grace D. Boncillo, Vice President of Academic Affairs, SPAMAST. Let's give a round of applause to Dr. Muhammad Ruem and Dr. Pedro M. Avenido. Your expertise and perspectives have greatly enriched our discussion. We take note of all the valuable insights provided and will consider them moving forward. And thank you once again for your participation and contribution to this significant event. All right. We have reached a significant moment in our program where we have the privilege to listen to the closing remarks. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to the Vice Rector for Student Affairs and Cooperation from UBT, Vice Rector Muhammad Djaya Bakri. A round of applause, please. Vice Rector Bakri, the stage is yours. Okay, Vice Rector Bakri, for your closing remarks. Excuse me, sir. I think there's a problem with your audio. I'm sorry, we cannot hear you clearly.
Mati dulu. Udah bebas. Check.
Okay, that's clear. I'm sorry. Okay, sir, go ahead.
Play. Okay. I repeat. First, I would like to say on behalf of University of Borneo, our vice rector cannot deliver the closing speech because he's on another schedule with another guest. So I would like to represent. Halo. Assalamualaikum Pak Jaya. Operator. Pak WR sudah standby. Cari anu. Kita balik. Ini terus. Pak Jaya. Di spotlight dulu. Dikeluarin aja dulu yang ini. Sambil menunggu kita zikir dulu gitu ya. Rik, cepat. Waduh. Tuh. Ya. Hah? Mau aja pinnya 201. Satu Pak Jaya pakai 2. Coba yang satunya. Dua 01 hilangin pinnya. Pak Jaya tuh ada 2. Pak Jaya yang mana? Pak Jaya itu ada 2. Coba yang satunya. Ini yang di kantor ini. M lagi. Tuh. Yang di bawah. Oh, itu tadi. Yang bawah tadi tuh. Ya. Ya, kita kayaknya harus sering-sering jadi operator Zoom deh. Karena kita lama nggak nge-Zoom kan. Unmute dulu beliau. Remove pin. Unmute dulu. Izin Pak Jaya, silahkan Pak di unmute dulu mic-nya. Balilah kamu di sini.
Yang jam satunya ya, saya minta yang di Oke. Oke, ready?
Izin Pak Djaya, silahkan kesempatan sekarang untuk Bapak menyampaikan closing remarks.
Oke, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, our activities have been running well. I am sure all of us can get a lot of information today, especially from the fishery sector. I really appreciate all students who have done to present their research result. Hopefully, this is will be the first step for UBT to introduce itself on an international scale. On behalf of UBT, I would like to say thank you very much to SPAMAST and all participants who are present at this time. God willing, inshallah, we will meet again at the follow-up agenda, namely the international seminar. And if there is no obstacle, these activities will be carried out offline at UBT and attended directly by SPAMAST. We hope that our next agenda can also be carried out well. I think that is all, and thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sure, we have our best smiles on.
reached the end of our research sharing presentation in Fisheries and Marine Studies. On behalf of deepest gratitude to all those who have contributed to the success of this event, first and foremost, a heartfelt thank you goes to our esteemed partners from Universitas full collaboration will pave the way for future endeavors and strengthen our creation to the dedicated faculty and staff of SPAMAST. Your unwavering support and commitment to excellence have played a vital role in making this event resource peak and discussions of our. Last but not the least, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to all the attendees, both virtual and in person. Your enthusiastic engagement has made this event vibrant and dynamic. And the connections forged and the
field of fisheries and marine sciences. Thank you once again to everyone involved, and we look forward to future opportunities to come together and continue our pursuit of knowledge and innovation. This has been your host. My name is Junari Joytuba saying, Salamat, Ugdalagon, and Dios. Thank you so much, our partners from UPT. Thank you so much once again to Vice Rector Muhammad Bakri. Thank you so much, sir. Nice meeting you. We hope to see you soon. Kaya photo op daw, mga nakadalikan. Back to UBT students, thank you so much.
Ayo guys. Ngomong sama si Junanya. Tuh. Check. Excuse me, Miss Junari. Are you still there?
yes.
Yeah, would you like to please take a picture with us from there?
Yes, we would like to.
Okay.
We're trying to figuring how will we be able to Unsa nga camera?
Okay, maybe the Miss Juneri can count in 3, 2, 1, and then we can take the picture.
Okay, requesting everyone na diri ata siguro sa atubangan para